Alrighty, let's go ahead and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance this evening. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And thank you all for joining us for our December 13th, 2022 meeting. I apologize that we had to reschedule from last week. That was unfortunate, and I've been so proud that I had missed getting COVID, and I came down with it the next day. So not a good thing. Don't recommend it for anyone. Kimberly, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, ma'am. Counselor Bedingfield. Here. Counselor Trump. Here. Counselor Grant.
Aye.
Counselor King. Here. Counselor Reck. Here. Mayor Short.
Here.
And Counselor Watson. Here.
Alrighty. We've got a revised agenda this evening. Are there any changes or additions to the agenda from councilors this evening? Alrighty. We also have a new portion called the consent agenda. I've reviewed everything on here, including the salary survey, which we have already reviewed and approved, but we just wanted to have you read the agreement and approve that as well. So at this time, I would entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented to council. So moved. Is there a second?
I'll second.
No, okay. Okay, 2 seconds. Okay. It's been moved.
That makes a whole.
Who was the first second? Okay. It's been moved and seconded to accept our consent agenda as presented. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? All righty, thank you. We have commission, committee, and group reports. Emergency preparedness, do you want anything this evening to bring us up to date on?
Yes, we're having a emergency preparedness event at our community center here in Depot Bay on the 28th of January. And it's going to be hosted as well by Jenny Damaris with Lincoln County. Mayor Short thought we would have some fun with this and have like freeze-dried appetizers and stuff like that for refreshments and things like that. Have a raffle for a grab and go bag with instructions in it as to how to use everything like that and have a raffle for that, get people excited about it. And it's being developed right now, but those are a couple of things that I think would be a lot of fun. And so we'll get some information out to the public to let them know about that.
Okay, thank you. Lindsay, did you have anything else?
Well, the gentlemen from the county auxiliary also are interested in being a part of that, which is really exciting. They're a fantastic resource for us.
Yes.
And bringing the trailer, bringing the EOS.
Oh, wow, that would be
And doing
wonderful.
tours. That would be a lot of fun.
That would be fantastic. Good. All righty, well, something to look forward to. I am. The Harbor Restoration Steering Committee met this afternoon. Did you want to update us on that this evening?
Oh, let's see, we're over some hurdles with National Marines Fisheries Service requiring the city to, within the grant period, to provide a report on basically the impact of what it would be if we remove the check dam. We don't have to remove the check dam, but we consented to as a deal, and we're writing, I think it's already been composed, to send it into our designers, P&D, to forward on to National Marines Fisheries, just to get over that hurdle, which is big. The rest of the permits take time. It's expected that we won't be through the permit period for 9 months, and then we can put it out once it's recommended by PMD that we don't put it out for bid until the project out to bid until we have all the permits in place. Then secondly, I recommended that as part of the design, that we put out the bid, that if the PMD might present it thusly, is that is scalable. In other words, if we end up not having enough money to do 3 docks, then if we could have enough money to do 1 or 2, we could get those done and put those out for bid. But that was an undecided. I think everybody felt that there was a lot of time between now and then. I'm a person that likes to hope for the best and plan for the worst. It looks like, as far as our construction time, in-water construction that is, we're looking at 24, 25. Okay, the fall of 24 and the winter of 25 for in-water construction. There will be some staging beforehand, but that's where we're at. I think that would come a long way, and we're going to get at least part of it done. And we hope for the best, and looking for more grant money to be able to finish the project.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Did we have an estimate how much that study of the check dam will cost?
No, it was immediately suggested, I think, by our city recorder that was part of what and it was mentioned to also by our city supervisor that these kind of research grants seem to be, that's no guarantee, but they're not very expensive in the great scheme of things, but that they're readily available to be applied for and
Great. So we will be researching grants for that as well. Any other questions? Thank you very
Sure.
much. I don't believe the harbor had anything else unless someone was here for harbor this evening. Let's see you out there. Is there anybody from Parks wanting to give a report? Okay. Planning Commission? Yes, come on up.
I don't know if I have anything to report. I believe our esteemed chair filled you guys in on our current status at your last meeting, and our next meeting is tomorrow, so I'll probably have a lot more to tell you next week. But I guess I just wanted to mention that. We did go through the, as I'm sure you heard, we went through the first hearing of the proposed townhouse ordinance thing, and we, that was a month ago now, if I recall, we sent it to, we got plenty of public comments, and we directed staff to go back and do some revisions, and we'll bring it up again, I believe, at the January meeting.
Right. Okay. Sounds good.
Pardon me, Mayor. Ron Scores would like to do a briefing on parks.
I'm sorry, okay.
Great.
Alrighty. Was there any questions about planning this evening?
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Looking forward to
Come on
taking
up,
notes.
Ron.
Sorry, my hearing is not very good sometimes.
Oh, I'm right there with you.
I'm not officially designated to report to you, but I will. We had a brief meeting, our chairman has resigned, so I will be moving ahead with that to appoint a new chairman. Let me just say that I'm upset, because I felt that in the prior meetings of the council, I think none of our recommendations as a park commission were accepted. Things were quite anxious to move ahead with a trail improvement, the First Families signage, which needs correction, a number of typos. It was designed to be set up not where it is now, which I understood was temporary. And I believe, according to what I saw in the minutes, was to say, well, that's a perfectly good place to sleep up there. That's not the agreement that we had. That was to establish that as part of a named park, hopefully, to the north of Tidal Rays restaurant. That's where we agreed also for that some of the monuments and pseudo monuments in the park would be removed or reconsidered. That did not happen. We seem to have voted down all of this. There seems to have been no representation really of our position. And I don't know why that, this is simply a couple of sentences in the report of the meeting. But I question, if you're not going to consider what your park commission is recommending, why should we be there at all? If the decision is going to be made here without, it seemed to me, sufficient input in terms of working out liaison with the Oregon Parks and Trails Committee, developing our trails, widening them, resurfacing them, making them handicap accessible, and improving entrances for handicap accessibility. And there are some unauthorized, or as far as I know, monuments in quotation mark in the park that need to be dealt with. And I think it just, nothing happened. So why are we even here? Why are we here? If you're gonna make those decisions, and those actions independent of our input, which I assume that was input was considered and or our recommendations. And so my feeling is, why should we be there at all? And also, as I suggested to our reporter, I think we need a director of parks, playgrounds, monuments, recreation. It does not have to be paid. I think it could be done, I think we can find a willing person to do that on a voluntary basis. So there are a number of things that just are kind of floating around out there.
Right,
So,
right.
yeah, anyway. I probably said
Recommendations
enough.
from our commissions are always suggestions. And so we act on, suggestions, and not all the time are we correct. So we can always revisit every action we've made here. And so I just make a formal request to do that, and we certainly will. Did you have a question, Counselor?
So I have a hard time, when Ron speaks, because I think he's making a public comment rather than representing the Parks Commission. So I have a hard time following. So I appreciate his frustration, but it's not a report of the Parks Commission. Okay?
I'll just say, I think that he's expressing his frustration with
Yeah.
the process, and I
Yeah.
think that's
Yeah.
part of,
And we're gonna work on the process.
and I think it's part of a report.
Yeah.
And it's just
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, I had the same thought of that in some ways it is public, but that has to do with all of us, I think. This is a consensus operation, hopefully. And, but also as a representative, I hope, of the commission. So anyway, I thought this should be known to you.
And we're welcoming all of your comments, and we will take them back to the Parks Commission. And I'm sure as soon as they get organized back in January, we'll redress those.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your coming. Is anyone from Salmon Enhancement this evening? Okay. Alrighty, thank you. At this time, we are going to reopen the public hearing, case file number 3-C1-PC-22, appeal of planning commission decision. At this time, I'm going to ask our city recorder, because I don't have much of a voice left, to read into the record the procedure, and then I'll take it from there.
Tuesday, December 13th, 2022 at 7 p.m. is the time set for the City Council's continued public hearing in the matter of an appeal of the Planning Commission decision on a building permit for a change of use to allow a 673 square foot portion of an existing building to be changed from retail to eating/drinking establishment in the retail commercial C1 zone, case file number 3-C1-PC-22. The applicant is Katrina Patterson / Big Book Beach House. The appeal of the Planning Commission decision to approve the application was filed in a timely manner on October 4th, 2022 by Jerome Grant / Gracie Seahag, the appellant. The public hearing in this matter was open at the City Council's regular meeting on November 1st, 2022. The City Council received testimony from the appellant, the applicant, and other interested parties. The applicant's attorney asked for the public record to remain open, and the public hearing was continued to tonight's meeting. The applicable relevant criteria upon which this case will be decided are Depot Bay zoning ordinance, section 152.030, retail commercial zone C-1, section 152031, commercial zone C-1, design standards and guidelines, and section 152.058, off-street parking and off-street loading requirements. Statement of rights and relevance. All testimony or evidence presented toward the appeal being heard must be directed toward the relevant criteria contained in the Depot Bay zoning ordinance, to other city plans or policies, or to other criteria which a person believes pertains to the request. All persons shall raise issues with sufficient clarity so as to allow the City Council or others an adequate opportunity to respond to or resolve the issue. Failure to address this criterion before the close of the hearing record precludes an appeal to the Land Use Board of Appeals based on that criterion. Failure by the appellant no later than the close of the hearing record to raise constitutional or other issues relating to the proposed conditions of approval with specific sufficient to allow the city to respond to these issues will preclude an action for damages based on those issues in the circuit court. Prior to the close of the evidentiary record of this hearing, a participant may request an opportunity to present additional evidence, arguments, or testimony regarding the appeal. If a participant requests such an opportunity prior to the close of the evidentiary record, the city council may either continue the hearing for at least 7 days or leave the record open for at least 7 days to allow the submission of an additional written evidence, arguments, or testimony. 7 days is then allowed for a response to the new evidence, arguments, or testimony, and 7 days should be allowed for rebuttal. An appeal from an action or ruling by the city council may be filed with the Land Use Board of Appeals, LUBA, within 21 days after the date the city council's decision is reduced to writing and bears the necessary signatures and is mailed or otherwise submitted to parties entitled to notice according to Oregon law. Appeal will need to comply with the LUBA appeal process, and LUBA should be contacted for information regarding an appeal. In order to have standing for an appeal, a person must have been mailed written notice or have participated in writing or in person at the planning commission, public hearing at the city council, public hearing, or have been substantially affected by the action or ruling. Following presentation of the city planner's report record of proceedings and decision of the planning commission, the appellant may present information regarding the appeal. The proponents, those agreeing with the appeal, are heard, followed by opponents, those objecting to the appeal, and other interested parties who are either for or against the appeal. Finally, the appellant may speak in rebuttal of any testimony presented in opposition. Those providing testimony are asked to state their name and address for the record and provide name and mailing address on the sign-in sheet. Council members will have the opportunity to ask questions for clarification after each testimony. Process is first call for any city council members to the declaration of conflict of interest, ex parte, or bias. We should go ahead and do that now, right?
Yes.
Okay, do we have any council members declaration of interest, ex parte, contact, or bias? No. Anyone present is opposition to any member of the council to hear this case? Does anybody present have?
There should,
Yeah.
well, I'm gonna recuse myself.
He will recuse
Yes.
himself as soon as we read the comments. Okay. Okay, and then we're gonna have the staff report and item 17.
Thank you, Madam Recorder. Try to get close to the mic. So as I recall, November 1st, of the public hearing was open in this matter. And there was testimony received from the appellants, the applicants, other interested parties. Before that public hearing commenced, the council considered a request from the appellant.
I'm sorry, pardon me, Councilor Grant, could I have you step down off?
Sure.
Thank you.
Yes.
And there was a request from the appellant for a 30-day continuation, which the council considered prior to opening the public hearing, but the council elected not to grant that request. As the recorder mentioned, at the conclusion of testimony that evening, there was a request from the attorney for the applicants to leave the record open, and the hearing was continued to originally last week's meeting after that. When the record was open, the applicants were afforded the opportunity to submit additional information for 7 calendar days. This was followed by the 7-day period for the appellant to respond to the additional information, and a final 7-day period for the applicant to rebut the appellant's response. The additional information response and rebuttal were submitted timely to the city, and all those are attached to your staff report this evening. There was also one additional written item of testimony supporting the appeal that was also received, and that's also included in the packet this evening. I would just also note that unless the applicant agrees in writing to a time extension, the 120-day decision deadline under Oregon revised statute, the 120-day decision deadline is this Friday, December 16th. As a result of the additional information submitted since November 1st, the appellant asserts 5 additional bases for the appeal. I think the staff report said 4, but actually 5. Number 1, the appellant asserts that compliance with the single-line zone parking regulations did not waive, are not waived by the non-conformity of the property. The above claims that even if the existing building is non-conforming in respect to the C1 design guidelines, they are still obligated to comply with the C1 zoning parking standards and criteria. And in oral testimony on November 1st, the public appellate cited a number of issues in the parking regulations, and those were also reiterated in testimony that was submitted at the appellate. In granting the building permit, the planning commission did find that the existing structure is not conforming with respect to section 152.031 of the zoning ordinance, which is the C1 design guidelines. With specific reference to parking requirements, this section of the ordinance, subsection J2, states that if an existing commercial building is presently non-conforming in regards to parking, increasing the square footage of the building will not require the building owner / developer to fulfill the existing non-conforming portion of the parking requirement. The owner / developer will be required to fulfill any additional parking requirement related to the increased square footage. The request to change of use that was considered by the planning commission does not involve the change or increase in the square footage of the building, so the applicant is not obligated to bring non-compliant parking and circulation elements into compliance with existing code. Furthermore, the staff has identified that one of the issues that was raised by the appellant was parking parallel to the side of the building between this building and the next building to the south. This being a non-conforming, non-permitted activity. But you point out that we did find some photographic evidence from Google Street View to demonstrate that as recently as July of this year, and as far back as 2007, there were instances of what was observed that the vehicles have parked parallel to that driveway on both sides of the driveway in the past. Second, the appellant asserted that the planning commission was not empowered to approve a modified proposal. The appellant notes that the original proposal submitted by the applicant did require 16 spaces, and this was reflected in the original staff report of the planning commission. There's one more space than the originally proposed, or than that currently proposed, which is 15. And he asserts that the applicant should have been required to apply for a variance rather than allowing them to agree to modify the proposal to match the proposed 15 parking spaces. The staff identified that the parking shortfall the applicant was presented with the options of either applying for a variance or modifying the proposal to avoid a variance. The applicants chose the latter approach. The staff worked with them to identify specific modifications so that the 15 spaces that were proposed would meet the city parking requirements. Staff regularly works with project applicants to identify ways to avoid variance requests, and there are no code provisions to prevent an applicant from revising a project after it's been submitted to the city. Third, the applicant asserts that the accessible parking space and that an accessible parking, handicap parking space that the applicant provided. Initially, the applicant asserted that there was no handicap parking being provided. We later conceded that in fact there is a handicap parking space included on the site plan. It's identified as space number 1, but he asserts that it's not accessible by virtue of conflicts with the adjacent building. However, the handicap accessible space identified on the site plan, in that space, the driver's side of the parking space opens into a paved open area. It does not open into the side of the building. So there is no reason to believe that there will be a conflict or an inability of a handicap motorist to get in and out of the vehicle with space 1 that he doesn't need a handicap space for the property. Number 4, the applicant has asserted that access to the site from North Highway 101 is unsafe and should be prohibited. The appellant has opined that allowing vehicular access from North Highway 101 jeopardizes the safety of pedestrians. He notes that the site already has access to Northeast Park Street, but that it should be required to take all access to the site from the side street. The drive approach on North Highway 101 has existed for many decades. It was testimony from the property owner to that effect at the last public hearing. Since the structure and the site are non-conforming, there is no basis in the code to require the abandonment of the existing driveway approach. The applicants are in the process of obtaining the necessary permit from ODOT related to the change of use and the for the existing drive approach. And in a recent email that staff received from ODOT, it was indicated that ODOT is prepared to issue the permit as soon as they have word that the city's decision in this matter is final. So we have every indication that it's ODOT's intent to grant the request for the use of the driveway as the applicants proposed. And finally, there was an assertion that there were unresolved questions for the project related to transportation impact study issues that that were not addressed sufficiently, and that the planning commission should not have acted on the permit in the absence of additional information from the city attorney. The appellant notes that there was some discussion in the September 14th planning commission meeting with respect to traffic impact study analysis. And there was a discussion on the agenda that evening that talked about consulting with the city attorney on issues related to the traffic impact study provisions of the zoning ordinance. However, the appellant is mistaken and concluded that this discussion was related or had some bearing on the application before you this evening. They were completely separate matters, having nothing more in common than being sequential items on the same meeting agenda. At the point that the planning commission took up the traffic impact study with the permit discussion, it had already concluded its deliberations on the building permit request before this evening. So in conclusion, staff believes that the additional bases that are cited by the appellant and the supplemental information that has come forward as a result of the record being left open are also without merit, as were most of the appeal bases that were laid out in the appellant's original appeal letter from back in October 4th. So therefore, staff continues to recommend that the city council deny the appeal and uphold the planning commission's action with the addition of the condition that requires the applicant to obtain the necessary permit from ODOT for the use of the existing driveway off of North Highway 101. That concludes staff's presentation.
Thank you, Kit. You made it through. Okay, at this time, we'll take appellant testimony.
So, from what I understand, that this is a public hearing, but the record has been closed, so people can provide, they can't provide new evidence, they can provide testimony, but no new evidence.
Right.
Okay.
Pardon.
The record actually was left open.
Oh, it was
That was the
open.
reason that there was this 777.
Right, but
exchange of information.
The record was left open and then it was closed after that 7-day final period. So it's a public hearing, the fact that people can provide testimony, but not new evidence. Am I correct?
I believe it's the other way around. They complied to testimony, but only new evidence.
No,
No.
I disagree.
Okay.
No, you can
Well, I
provide-
agree with Councilor Rick that that's how Oregon law works
Oh.
in land use plan.
Yeah, and look, that's why I asked you if the record was closed. I'm not sure if I would have been here to give testimony at all if you didn't indicate that the record was still open, because I was surprised
Okay.
that it was, because I thought it was closed. And so therefore, anything that I had to say as far as my appeal rights, I already have standing with Luba, okay? I don't need to say any more,
No, you don't.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if-
Misunderstood the seven thing. I thought we'd left the record open after the last meeting.
I
I was pretty sure we left the record open after the last meeting.
If, I mean, we can get, I'm inclined to believe Councilor Holbrook's, opinion on it. But, if it makes any difference to the council and you'd like me to refresh your memories on my appeal, I would be happy to do that. I will throw a wild card out here, okay? And that is that I firmly believe that there's some controlling ordinances there that basically forbid some of the design, what I consider flaws of the parking lot there on the base of the building. However, I don't think they're insurmountable. That corner is kind of it's a unicorn in the city. It's different than all the others. They've taken away at some time, and I don't know what, probably when they put the bulbous crosswalks in there, They've taken away about 4 spaces in front of that building that are blocked off. If I think that if those spaces could be restored, because it would add congruence to the walkway downtown, I think that the parking lot inside that driveway, and the driveway would be eliminated, because it is a pedestrian hazard going in and out that way, there's just no doubt about that. But you could eliminate that, follow basically code and put your parking diagonals against the one of the buildings there. And add a space here and here, and lo and behold, with those addition of 3 to 4 parking spaces out in front of the building, then it would add congruence to our walkway. You'd have your 15 or 16 spaces. And I would, if there was some way, and like I said, this is the wild card that I throw out, to do that the city would be interested in doing that, I would drop any appeal going forward. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Can we ask questions?
I suppose actually the councils did, do the deliberation. So don't ask the question yet.
No, go ahead. Are you asking a question of who? Sam?
I kind of want to make a statement. The part about being unsafe, I mean, I understand that the whole town, anywhere you go out, you can't see. But I happen to know that UPS goes up that little road daily to give businesses their delivery. And at the time that I was in that building a lot, a few years ago when it was converged, and I always parked on those 3 spots that Jerome was talking about, and UPS could still get in there while cars were parked. And so I just wanted to mention that.
Is there proponent testimony? Any proponents? Opponent testimony?
I think he's considering that the record is closed, so we shouldn't be taking any more testimony.
Okay,
Yeah, just I mean, after you put in a bunch of weird stuff.
Not weird.
Does the
So-
council think they wish to hear any more from them? I mean, is there something you want to share? Do you guys need further information to make a
Personally,
decision?
I was under the impression that the spaces in front of the building didn't count towards our use anyways. And he's talking about adding more spaces to benefit us, but the spaces out there are not part of our 15, and they would not affect us even if you did add more.
Excuse me, order please. If somebody's gonna testify, they need to come to the microphone.
Very sorry.
Do we really, since the record is considered closed, do we need any more testimony, or can the council make their decision?
Excuse me.
Ask for questions.
I would just like to talk about the requirements of this hearing. I think things are getting a little bit confused. People can offer, this is a public hearing. We continue the public hearing. People can offer their opinions, their testimony. What they can offer after the record is closed is additional facts, testimony onto the nature of it. If you want to say you like it, you don't like it, that's okay. It's a public hearing, but there's no more facts to be put at this point. Evidence to be put in front of us. So I personally don't feel like I need to hear more, but
Okay.
I welcome anybody who wants to talk.
alrighty. So is there any more interested parties that want to testify? Alrighty. Are there any requests to hold the record open? I'm not hearing any requests to leave it open, so We're gonna close the hearing at this time and begin council deliberations. The council, have you all had a chance to review all the facts that have been given to you? Is there gonna be an additional time needed for any other thing? Okay. Is there any discussion? Ms. Brand?
Well, I'm prepared to make a motion so we can discuss it. Choosing from staff report option 2 to uphold the planning commission's decision based on the staff reports, the arguments put before us in the staff reports, and using the planning commission findings identified at the September 14th, 22 meeting, in preparing the findings, conclusion, and final order, as well as the enhancements that staff has prepared based on new evidence and testimony that came in. And to move to deny the appeal, uphold the planning commission's decision, and adopt the six conditions of approval with the following change in the last one: limitations on seating. Any future proposal, the last sentence, for additional indoor and outdoor seating shall require city approval in advance. I think it should read instead, any future proposal for additional indoor and outdoor seating shall require adherence to the parking requirements of the city.
Okay, well, there's no way I can repeat that motion. So
We got it on record.
do we have a recording? Oh, good. So actually, I'm just gonna kind of give just a little brief synopsis. We've got a motion to accept option number 2 as presented by staff, upholding the planning commission's decision and denying the appeal at this time. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept option 2. Is there any further discussion on the motion? No further discussions? Alrighty. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposed to the motion? Okay, the motion has passed. Alrighty. So we'll direct staff to go from there. Okay, thank you. Let's go on to no unfinished business. We have new business. The Neighbors for Kids, and I see Toby's here this evening. Toby, do you want to come on up here and meet with council tonight? Toby Wins, our executive director. And Toby, first I have to apologize that this has taken too long to come before you, but I think you understand what we've been going through.
Yeah.
So I'll just leave the floor open to you and to give your side of the story here.
Okay, so fairly recently, a few weeks ago or so, we received a letter from the city with an invoice due, and it was quite large, and where did that come from? And so I was a bit shocked and wondering where the charge came from, and I realized it was over 2 years old, from like October 2020. And it, for us as the local nonprofit, it's like, that's a big bill to just receive all of a sudden. And first of all, we appreciate the complicated, land use hearing process and everything that the city helped us get through so we could open up again, like right during the pandemic. Above all, we truly appreciate that, and we understand there was costs involved, but we didn't know it was gonna be this. We did pay the $2,500 deposit back when that was initiated, but it was just so for us as a nonprofit who's about to finish a fiscal year very soon, because we're January to December fiscal budget year. It was a shocking bill to receive all of a sudden, and so I didn't realize I had the right to request a waiver until the city staff informed me by email. So after speaking with board members and our advisory attorneys on our board, we just, they just thought we should respectfully request a waiver of those fees. Because they came out of the blue and all these years I've worked with Benefit, I've never received, an invoice or a bill and not in a timely fashion like that. So, and I don't really understand the details of why that happened, and I know it's been complicated as well. So.
Right, and so when you made your application, you weren't told that this was just a deposit and there would be further expenses involved in the application that you
There
made?
wasn't, I don't remember there being any type of details ever presented to me, like it could be this much or there's the estimate. It was just, but as you remember, who were here, it was quite a urgent process, and it was kind of like, we were all operating a sense of urgency to open up again.
Right, right.
So, and I don't know if the city would consider waiving it or waiving part of it or working with us to pay it later when we have, year-end fundraising going on, but I just wanted to bring it before you and request the waiver.
Well, the charges are legitimate, Toby. We work very closely with you and your board to make things happen for you. And so, it is a legitimate charge.
So, I don't have a copy of an itemized statement. Somebody supplying them?
It's basically for the attorney fees.
For the exception in the zoning?
Right.
Yeah, the land use hearing process.
And Carla Duran is online, so she can provide any further clarification for the council, since she was here when all this was going on.
So I'll open up for questions. Yes, Fran.
So I remember this hearing, these hearings. And what I remember is when the Kid Zone first came in, they wanted an exception to be able to offer I think we had childcare center, and it wasn't quite what this was. But then the planner and the chair of the planning commission just sort of said, oh, this is an opportunity to change the zone. And a number of us pushed back on that. So there was a lot of additional time and energy related to that expansion of the topic from what the Kid Zone had requested to make it all about changing the whole light industrial zone. So I think, yes, these charges are exactly, I'm sure they're well documented, but I don't think without that, it would have been so involved. So, and I understand the budgetary cycle and how hard it would be, but we give a lot of money to the Kid Zone. So my thought, I think, is to waive maybe half of it and allow the Kid Zone to pay that in the next budget cycle, or to reduce their ask for this year to accommodate that. Essentially, it'd be about $2,000 if we waived half of it. Because just one final thing, I just don't want to waive fees because that establishes a pretty bad precedent. And but I think there's legitimate reason in this case, because the Kid Zone started on a very simple request related to childcare facility, a similar use, and then it expanded way out of health. I'm done.
Okay, and yes, Councilor Grant.
Mayor, I would like to make a motion that we do as council or recommended and waive half of it.
Is there a second to the motion?
Would that motion include that they wouldn't have to pay until the next budget cycle? Okay.
Okay, you can add that to the the verbiage.
Motion, okay.
That would be great.
Seconded again.
Okay, sorry,
Do we got a third here?
all right, because she would have had to take it back first time.
So that could be due after January first, since that's our budget.
Yeah, okay,
Okay.
all right, can I hear it read back?
It's actually on my document. If I can have my document, I'll be happy to read that to you.
Read back the motion and the impact, okay?
Yes. So, I believe that was just one of the options that I had put in the recommendation for the council. So, Counselor Grant is motioning to grant the request for a reduced amount, and I think I heard half, correct? Great. And allow neighbors for kids to pay that amount after the new fiscal year. And I also put, or pay over specific period of time, but the council just wishes to do that after the fiscal year begins for the neighbor for kids.
I
Okay,
think that works.
and, Counselor Crum, still second?
Yep.
Okay.
Is there any discussion on the motion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right,
Any opposed? Alrighty, motion carries. Okay, Toby, thank you for coming.
Thank you, we appreciate it
Yes,
very much.
absolutely.
Would the city, I just had a question, would the city, therefore, give us a revised invoice?
Sure.
You know,
I will make sure that probably gets one for you.
Like showing that the waiver was done.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, yes, appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you. Alrighty. Next, we have the request for extension of time for the Cook Avenue Code Enforcement update. Has everyone had a chance to read the note from Kimberly about the request for an extension of time?
And Counselor Rec had sent an email, follow-up email, asking for some specific details, which our Public Works Director, Brady, would be happy to provide.
So, she has been trying to clean the vehicles out, there's 7 altogether. She has one that was cleaned and had called me last week, so it was last Thursday, and, said one of them's ready, and it was a van, it's the one that's encroaching, the garbage truck can't get through. So I did call a tow company to remove it for free, there's the local tow companies, are gonna charge the city. So we'd have to pay for the removal and storage, and if nobody claims the vehicle, I don't know how long the storage would be. There's another company out of Grand Ronde that will remove the vehicle. He's done several for the city in the past, and it at no charge. He'll just take it and scrap it.
Wow.
He's got a scrapper's license.
that's
So-
cool.
Just kind of waiting on this fellow to get back. He was supposed to be here Saturday, but he got busy, but the one that is tagged, it's orange tag right now, it's ready to go. So she's got like 6 more to go. And it took this long just to get one, so. It's a lot of-
And she's making it.
She has communicated regularly with the city. She got a storage unit, so she's been moving stuff. She is asking for the extension due to the weather. She just recently lost her father, so she's had it, then she was sick, so she's had a lot of concerns. So she is working on it, she's just asking for more time.
Yes. Has there been continuing threats to the city staff?
I've taken notes, I do give a report to the recorder when I do communicate. The last time, there was no threats, but the time before that there was. That she would kill me if I towed her sports car away.
Don't do it.
Yes, Lindsay.
Do you actually think it's gonna make a difference if we give her 6 more months? I kind of don't. I think that it's gonna be the same old runaround and we're just pushing it out into the future. I feel like we should not grant an extension.
I think this has been a problem for years, and it's gotten a little better, but in inches. And I would agree that we should probably not give an extension.
And we have had some also recent concerns expressed about feeding of the animals, the wildlife in that area.
Yeah.
Which has been a concern. So by not, by denying the request, it just means that we'll further proceed along the nuisance abatement, which is attorney and things like that. So, that's just what that means, and it's totally at your discretion.
So what was our deadline before the end of the year?
At the end of the year, I believe December, right? Wasn't it December, end of this month?
Yes, Lindsay.
Sorry, as I remember though, there were some steps that were gonna be taken before that with vehicles to be gotten out before that end of December deadline. So there are multiple things that haven't happened.
In right of way,
Yeah,
that
I
was
was
the
trying to get
first
the
thing she
vehicles
was
out of
gonna
the
do.
right of way, and that's, right now is one, but it's yet to be, removed. I started this last Thursday communicating with the tow company, or the scrapper. So there's 7 more. One vehicle, that was not part of that, it wasn't her vehicle, it was, another person, that has been removed.
Oh.
So that, which was at the end of the road, but another, vehicle full of, debris has been put in its place.
Yes.
No, see, that alone should be enough to say no
Yeah.
extension.
And there's a lot of encroaching from the property with debris out into the right of way, like 12 feet into the right of way of debris. I mean, if you look at the property line from Google Earth, you can see, I mean, you can go to the surveyor's map or Google Earth to this day, just the current one, and look and zoom in on Cook Street, and you can see, but if you go to the surveyor's map, it'll show the property line. And you can see the debris over the property line, and that's within just a few inches, so. And then the feeding of the animals, one of the neighbors did give us some great points to help with what other cities in our area are doing with, feeding
Modify the
animals.
ordinances.
To help,
for
to
that.
help bring ours up to date, because ours is
So
really
we'll be
old.
working on that.
Nice.
That was a great suggestion and some great information Dave provided.
So what happens if we don't grant an extension?
Then we proceed with whatever the nuisance abatement would be, which I believe is probably to get our city attorney involved, which means court and attorneys. So
Yeah,
that,
public hearing, and then,
I don't know if it needs a public hearing at this point, because we've already had it. So I think it's,
okay.
we'll go to P10 and then it will end up in court.
I think that's what needs to happen.
Would council consider giving her until the end of January? 1 more month, if no?
I don't think it would matter.
Yeah.
I'm all for saving the city money and time and effort if we can. If 1 more month looks like it could do that, then I'd be all for it.
He, Public Works Director Brady goes out there a lot more, so he could tell whether, I know what we get reported to us, but he sees more, so he could tell you if he thinks there's any value to given.
Yeah, I think if she, yeah, I mean, I don't think we're gonna get, it's just gonna be slow moving. But if she's told to maybe do something and has a deadline, extended 30 days, yeah, you might get a couple more vehicles, in my opinion.
Couple more is worth it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's,
So-
and there has been inclement weather, I mean, I can't even get the tow or the scrapper out there, so,
The
I mean,
death
it's
of a
just,
family member. I would be willing to do 1 month.
She has placed another vehicle during that time frame, and she has threatened the life of our supervisor. I'm sorry, that's a hard no.
if you
No.
read the notes, it's not just me.
It's not,
I'm sorry.
she's not happy with the council either.
Fine. Denied.
I think the threats against life, absolutely unacceptable and something should be done about that. That's not.
Exactly, it does sound like we need a police report filed about that.
Whose life did she threaten?
The council.
Well, she's threatened I don't think she specifically threatened,
She just said the council.
yeah,
Yeah.
but she has threatened Brady.
Yeah, numerous. I mean, in order to file charges.
Threats of physical violence.
Yeah.
We need to report that,
She
we
told
need to
me
report that to the
She was
police.
gonna kill anybody who tried to move it.
That's the big thing, is anybody who tries to remove
Yeah,
it.
we need to document that really.
Yeah.
It's documented,
Okay.
We do, and yeah, I mean, I've talked to Curtis about it,
and she
and
leaves us a
Carl,
lot of voicemails.
Deputy Bertner and Sergeant Bertner, and the, And Curtis Lambers, the sheriff, they're very familiar with it.
Well, here's the main thing of the concern, because I have employees that live on it. And it's blight, it depreciates the value of all the property around there.
It is.
And that's, and then it's a health concern. And those are the main things, and if we're, if part of our duties as a council is to help remove blight, that certainly fits the definition.
Yes.
So I move that we deny the request for
Okay.
extension.
Alrighty, is there a second to the motion?
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to deny the request. Is there any further discussion?
I would just like to add that Brady's been so kind to her and offered, to go above and beyond and
Years.
for a very long time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Discussion, I would be for giving her till the end of January. I mean, because of the time of year and the loss of the loved one. So I'll be voting nay on this motion. If we go to the end of January, I'll support it.
I'm sort of leaning that direction, because I think, I don't believe that much will happen, but, it will, if we can get one or two other vehicles moved out of there, that's gonna save the city money in the long term, but I think what we need to do is to say that send her a letter saying that the city council really debated, hard on this, and that there really wasn't any real desire to give her 6 months, but because of her circumstances with her father dying or whatever, we decided to give her just to the end of January and then initiate proceedings. I don't know if it'll do any good. I could go either way with the motion, but I think it's probably worth giving her 30 more days, but I don't know.
We could probably, if the council wishes, in doing that as an alternative, have the letter come from our city. Saying the council has voted and we're going to extend, but after that time, here's what we'll have.
This is the recourse that we have.
To give her a heads up that there isn't going to be any more extensions and this is what the council.
And that if there are any more threats on people's lives or property, that she will be arrested.
Is he able to get that to her in a timely manner, so she has?
Yes, I will ensure that he does. He has a assistant or a junior attorney that he's grooming that did the last letter for, so we'll let him do that. For the, he did the billboard letter, so for.
Yeah.
Okay, so all of this is predicated upon us denying the motion that was just made, but I would like to speak that if we end up going that route, we should include copies of the police reports that have been made for threats on
Okay.
lives of council members and staff.
Okay.
So at this time, the motion is to deny the request. So is there any further discussion on that? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye.
Given the discrepancy, I would ask to, let's do the roll. Let's call.
Oh, okay, roll call, okay.
Alright, is everybody agreeable to
Yes.
this? Okay. Counselor Betty?
Yes.
Okay, make sure, I'm just gonna go down the road. So, yes, Counselor Watson?
Yes.
Counselor Rapp?
No.
Counselor King?
Yes.
Mayor Short?
Yes.
Counselor Grant?
Nay.
And Counselor Crowe?
Yes. Okay, the motion is passed.
It's not gonna happen, I mean, nothing's gonna get done till the end of January anyway.
Well, I think it wouldn't hurt to write a letter, the attorney write a letter informing her of
Of her decision tonight, yes,
And so did I, absolutely, yes, I think it would be best coming from an attorney at this point.
with those attachments.
Okay. Moving on, we have the resignation of Parks Commissioner member Stan Zitman. Has everyone had a chance to read that? Is there a motion to accept his resignation?
Move to accept his resignation.
Alrighty, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to accept the resignation of Stan Zitnik, effective December 31st, 2022. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All
I
right.
have a question on that a little bit. So his term is ending anyway.
Yeah.
Do we have, does that mean that it's automatically continued? Anybody's term that ends is automatically continued unless we take an action?
That's a good question.
Or do they reapply?
Yeah.
I think I've researched this recently, and I think that's exactly what happens. We would need to look at everybody's terms on that right now and see where everybody is.
It was just,
But that's exactly right. Generally it means that people have to apply again, but we do need to look at those terms and.
so technically he might not have needed to resign.
He really didn't actually need to resign, he just chose to.
Okay, thank you.
So we'll post that position is open then on the website.
And which means if there was a meeting in December and then his vice, Robert Vincent.
Yeah.
He would chair the meeting, but they would be picking a new one in January anyway. So we will be posting again to try to get volunteers.
Well, the good news is Sandy is here and she is applying for the Parks Commission. Come up, Sandy. And has everyone had a chance to read her application? Sandy has been attending the meetings and wants to continue on as an official member. Alrighty, that's awesome. You've lived in Depot Bay, what, 7 or 8 years?
We bought our house in 2015.
Oh, okay.
And we lived here permanently since 2019.
Perfect.
And my family has stayed here for years.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of you probably know them.
We all do, yeah. Any questions for Sandy?
I'm a living, breathing body.
You're more than that. She takes excellent notes.
Yeah. And we
Well,
appreciate
I'm
your
pretty sure that
willingness.
you're telling the truth there.
Oh, we appreciate your willingness to step forward. Did we have ballots? Oh, we don't have ballots. Is it okay to do it?
Or something?
I would not be opposed to
We've done it
do.
without them before, you just write it on a piece of paper.
Just write it on a piece of paper. Okay.
What do you write that? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I'm not just about, sorry.
Yeah, perfect.
Everybody gets purple.
They do?
Can I blame the drink?
We can write a piece of paper.
No, I apologize. Really, I apologize.
It's okay.
Let's bid
We're
this.
all digital until we don't go digital. I figured out, I need paper.
Oh, do you need a piece of paper?
I got,
You don't?
I'm done.
Oh, you're done. She's done. Okay.
Thank you.
Don't throw this out there small.
Thank you so much. Yeah, sure, really appreciate it. Great.
Our technology.
I will, you know I will.
There you go.
More than that.
It's just like a clubhouse.
I know, this is fun. This way. Let's go this way. I want to go this way. This is fun. See, this is fun. Well, you got 2 Band-Aids on your fingers because you cut yourself with sharp knives. All in favor?
Oh, thank you.
Unanimous.
So is there
Are
a
you sure?
motion to accept the vote?
Wait.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
I saw
It
yes.
is.
It's moved and been seconded to accept the ballots as presented. All in favor, say aye.
First and then second.
Thank you,
Aye.
Councilor.
Any opposed? Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yay.
Thank you, Sandy. Appreciate you stepping in.
Unanimous, congratulations.
Thanks.
So the Christine Berry, are you here to see?
She is not here this evening.
Okay.
She was unable to make it, so we will confirm her in January with the official ballot.
Okay. Alrighty. Sounds good. We have a grant before us request to go before Lincoln County that Lindsay has put together.
Thank you.
And has everyone had a chance to read all of this? Should we wait for Autumn to return?
We probably have that one.
Should we go forward then? I'm excited. I think it would be wonderful to move forward and get going on these projects. So is there a motion to accept the going for the approval of the matching grant program,
How much is the match?
$2,500, just within our budget area.
And this is for, because I don't have the documentation.
We're going to purchase a container to put here at City Hall to
20 shipping container.
For City Hall cash,
City Hall cash.
which we located by the bus barn, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be next to the firehouse cache.
Oh, you mean a food hall, food cash?
Or whatever we wanna put in.
Oh, food, like money too?
About money.
The container, just the container.
Top
Yeah.
ramen and blanket.
You may not need that if the ends. Top ramen, yeah, there you go.
Oh,
Blankets, tarp, all kinds of fun stuff.
good stuff, yeah. Okay, it's been moved and seconded to accept our grant program request. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. So on the recommendation of Kimberly, she is saying that we need to form a houseless advisory committee. And there is a resolution number 530-22. Do we need to have this read into the record or?
No, not resolutions.
Okay. So everyone's had an opportunity to read this and the attachment, exhibit A that outlines what the duties and responsibilities are. I think it's going to be beneficial to the city to have this advisory committee to look into how we go forward with Lincoln County, with other side cities as to provide for the homeless, because we cannot do it as a city on our own. And so I would be in favor of this. I don't know if it is up for discussion, that's right.
I haven't read the agreement, is there, forming this committee, are we giving away any of our,
Absolutely not.
okay,
So
This houseless, this homeless stuff is, right now, the law's very fluid. So the League of Oregon Cities is not coming down with any kind of model ordinances. A lot of cities are kind of floundering with what they're gonna do. One of the things I may be bringing is something called time, manner, and place, which addresses our public lands. So we have something, some of the cities are doing it, and there's various different things. This is kind of a low-hanging fruit, if you will. It's like a first step to us addressing this issue, until the law gets itself sorted out. It gives us a chance to start communicating, start educating, start getting feedback and information from people within the city.
So I think this is a good idea in general. What I'm concerned with, we have trouble getting enough people to serve on these committees and commissions of the city. And this would require 7, 8, 9 people.
But they're not all from this city. There is, we're hoping to be able to kind of establish some kind of a partnership with either Lincoln County, with Newport, with Lincoln City. So it might mean having a member from their group to help us as we go along. At least, that was the recommendations offered by the League of Oregon Cities.
Okay, but what I see here, maybe the wording, I just don't understand, it says, so one city councilor is non-voting, voting. City staff are non-voting, and then we have city business owners 3 and Depot Bay residents 3, so that's at least 7 people from the city, plus city staff. So I think that's gonna be a high bar. If it's aspirational, you could say up to, that would make me feel, I don't think we're gonna be able to get committed. I don't know, I mean, I'm just expressing.
I'm in favor of up to, I think we'll get attention on this one because it's a pretty important thing, especially to business owners. But I don't really know what we're gonna get.
But I mean, what happens if we don't fill all these positions? Do we not have a committee? I'm sorry, I've been saying.
No, it's that I have the exact same thought. I was thinking, what if we have a group of like 4 or 5 people that are really ready? And but then this is kind of like holding us back. I think the idea of like maybe up to, but they can have a quorum with a smaller number.
We could do that. I don't think you know what, I'm thinking, I don't know if I addressed the form number in there. So we could,
It shall consist of.
a majority, right, a majority. So we could say up to how many? I mean, we did that with emergency preparedness, where we set up to 5.
No more than 5, I'd say, no more, because it's tough to find anybody.
Okay. We can always explore later if we think we're gonna have more interest, if we put the call out and we get more interest.
Yeah.
Then we can discuss, I can come back and discuss with you whether or not we wanna open it up for more.
Right, we recruited one person today, okay, for Parks. Okay, we lost one for Parks, right?
Right. And we're already down by 1.
And did we lose anybody else from any of the other committees today?
We lost. No.
Okay.
No.
I just think it has to be really promoted, as in any way we can amongst our neighbors and friends and that type of thing, that this is something that's going to start really impacting our city, and we've gotta be prepared.
Do we wanna say 5 or up to 5 or 7? What's the council's pleasure?
I think it doesn't matter the number if we can establish a quorum is something more reasonable.
Okay.
I would say start it up to 5,
Okay,
is the easier number.
just like we're doing for the emergency preparedness committee. Okay.
So quorum is 3 then, they can meet and make recommendations based on 3 people, that's neat.
Okay, there we go. Council Rec, is that agreeable? Are you agreeable?
Yeah, I'm agreeing with that, but I'm concerned about the wording still. So we have to revise this wording because, so the committee may consist of the following member types.
Okay.
So we just have to add some may language. Just so we can adopt it tonight, shall we change the wording now or just?
That is up to you. We can either adopt it tonight with the revisions, we can do it right now, or I can bring it back in January. It's not something that immediately has to happen. We might want to wait till later, start recruiting anyway.
But we do have a deadline for having something in place by July of 2023. So I would recommend that we adopt it now and really get started.
I can make some really quick wording changes.
Yeah.
Sorry, John, go ahead.
Do you
I
have,
just said, I mean, I don't see any harm in tabling it until the word changes get in there and it's all straightened out. You guys can vote on it in January without me.
well, there wouldn't be, if you guys are in favor of that, we need the housing, we can actually start talking it up now, even if we don't, and say, we're going to be forming a committee in January. If you're interested, contact the city.
Okay.
And then we can bring back the wordsmith resolution and everybody, then we'll have exactly what we want. But But there's no reason why we can't start talking about it now and getting interest, checking out interest.
But this is just for Depot Bay.
Right.
This-
Yes, absolutely.
So is the consensus to table resolution? Okay,
Okay.
so we'll go ahead and table that one this evening. Okay. Amendment to City Council Rules Resolution number 331-22. Our city recorder has been, she got started on the rules and she saw some glaring omissions and came to me and asked that we make some changes here. So does everyone have a chance to read all of this? Yes. I'm not gonna read the resolution into the record. So basically, we would change our meetings to start at 6 o'clock at night. We would replace some new language on chapter 2. And then we would also add a chapter number 5 to follow state laws. She's also looking into our employment handbooks and all kinds of other things, so we're making changes all the way around here. So I'll open up for discussion.
Well, this wouldn't affect the charter, because I believe if we are, this affects the charter, that has to go to.
No, this absolutely does not. There's nothing in there that talks about any of these things in the actual charter.
This is all to the rules.
It says that we have to meet twice a month, but it doesn't state time. Don't
Yeah,
check that.
because, well, I think the charter says once a month, so I think that it would, at least once a month,
And maybe it does, and maybe just
so
the
that.
city of Depot Bay just chooses to do it twice a month.
Well, yeah, that's correct, that's what we do.
But
I'm
it
just
doesn't
saying-
have the time.
It
It does not have the time in the charter.
Correct.
not the time, but we don't, in other words, the charter says we don't have to meet twice a month. We
Oh,
have to meet
are you
once a month.
proposing to only meet once a month? Is that what you're
I
thinking?
think that, I think actually that the city's business, if properly handled, could be done in one meeting, yes, I do.
Oh, okay, so you're proposing a change to
No,
actually.
I'm proposing that the charter doesn't require us to meet twice a month. I think it requires us to meet once a month.
Correct.
Okay. So if we change the council rules, that would be, in other words, a rule instead of just by resolution that we meet twice a month, that's our schedule, then it conflicts with the charter.
So the charter says at least once a month,
That's right.
but the council rules say twice a month.
And it says in the charter, it shall adopt rules for the government of its members and proceedings, which is what the council rules are doing. So we're not affecting the charter, it says we have to meet once a month, but our rules that we adopt per the charter say the council has chosen to meet twice a month, and now we want to change the time to 6 p.m. Does that make sense? Okay.
So at this time, is there a motion to accept resolution number 331-22?
Move to approve.
Right,
Move to approve.
yes. Is there a second? Or
Councilor Rex.
is there any further discussion on the motion?
When will it take effect?
Resolutions take effect immediately, so January,
Okay.
6 o'clock. We'll send out our numbers.
Any further discussion on the motion?
Yeah, I'd like a roll call vote on this one.
Okay.
Okay, great. Counselor Watson?
Yes.
Counselor Reck?
Yes.
Counselor King?
Yes.
Mayor Short?
Yes.
Counselor Grant?
Okay.
And Counselor Crum?
Yes. Okay, motion has
I vote yes.
Oh, Counselor Bedingfield.
Fine, just make sure for the record.
I didn't do that. Thank you.
Yeah.
so we will take care of all of that. Okay, Kim, do you wanna give us more information on this?
Oh, the
HB
pay
ordinance?
we're gonna I'm probably gonna have to bring back something to change with the handbook, but for right now, because it starts on January first, so effective January first, we are considered a small city because we have under 25 employees, so we don't have to pay a portion of it, but our employees do. So starting January first, with the first paycheck in January, we have to withhold this percentage in here. And what this means is that starting in September, even if, so we don't fall under FEMLA or OFLA because we're small. So Family Medical Leave, Oregon Family Leave Act, we don't fall under this because they're small. So what this does though, is it gives employees, because we're small, now, like say, for example, Freddie would like to take time off because he has a health thing after September, he can do that. And he has to go through the employment department, which is where it becomes a little different because they're not going directly through us to get this benefit. That's why they pay into it, it comes paid out of that. One of the things we're gonna have to change is that how the employee notifies us if they take advantage of this program. Because otherwise we wouldn't necessarily know, they would just be not here, I'm not sure how it works, they're gonna have 100% of the rules done. But the big thing is starting January first with the first paycheck, we have to start deducting money from every employee's.
Yeah.
And then what is the September part of it, starting?
When they can start using leave.
And it's because we're under 25 people, they have to go directly through the employment department?
No, it doesn't matter the size, the only difference for the under 25 is that the employees pay a portion, we don't have to.
I'm going to be in a conference over this, between now and the first of the year. Yes, there's some contributions, as you detailed there, but this is a headwind that, businesses, and I tell you, it's not even the tax. It's how do you replace a key employee in a small business with somebody of equal talent? And knowing that, and the person that you hire, knowing that they'll be only working for you for 12 weeks. Because I'm not so sure that, at this juncture, I'm assuming that you have to bring them back.
Absolutely, the rules require it. And there are offering something called, like say if Brady left for 12 weeks and we wanted to bring in somebody temporarily, they're offering these, what they're calling grants to small employers, which would include you as well, Councilor Grant. They're offering grants to bring people in to help pay for that. I know. But Councilor Graham's right, because you're bringing somebody on with the knowledge that they're not going to be here unless we make a spot for them.
So the employees is required to employ and put all this money in there. What if they don't ever use it? What happens to that?
It does not come back to the employee.
Okay, Mayor, I've got some experience here. I mean,
You probably have over 25, right? You probably fall under.
Up until COVID, my average employment between my two facilities is 100.
Yes.
Okay.
So you definitely are considered a large employer.
No, it's not for them purposes. Up until recently, a large employer you had to be over 500. Okay. And so.
All of that's changed with this.
Okay, so.
Needs different.
And then we had the state of Oregon also requires us to pay sick leave also. Would anybody venture to guess how much sick leave my employees have to have at the end of the year? That would be close to zero. Okay. That being said, employees will use this benefit, period. I predict that they're gonna have to raise the tax on it. It will go, this scheme will go broke because everybody will use it. And it will cause pandemonium in small, especially in small businesses and medium-sized businesses.
I'm not sure what impact, it would have on us depending on the position that was gone, but we will definitely need to update the handbook to make sure that we get notified, advance notification, because right now, if they go directly through the employment department and they work with them, they're not working with us. So that's one of the things that we would want to address. I know, it's very weird. I attended a workshop on this and it's just very strange.
So what do we need to decide?
Nothing, this is just information only. I wanted to let you know that we would be starting taking this percentage out of employees' paychecks on Monday, or in January. The city doesn't have to do anything at this point, except we'll probably have to make a change in the employee handbook. But since there's other changes I want to make to the employee handbook, we might bring that feedback at one time. So right now, it's just information, because I've been kind of mentioning it and I haven't really given you that information.
I worked in California accounting and payroll for 18 years and they already had it. So,
did they?
oh yeah.
So that's.
And for a big company, it was a real nightmare keeping track because they could use sick leave or single days of family leave.
Yes.
And you had to know exactly what they were doing and they wouldn't remember to tell you and whatnot.
Oh. Luckily, we're small, so we're going to know when somebody's not here. Yes, so.
How many small cities are matching the, in Wigan?
I haven't heard any of that, because that is an option, there's a couple options on this, there's a couple, they talk about whether that the council could choose to pay that 6% for the employee. Or we could come up with some equivalent plan, which we kind of have, I didn't really pursue that because we kind of already offer the sick leave, so there really isn't anything on this, but basically, the nutshell is employees, because we don't have OFLA and FEMLA, now we have the employees have the ability. So essentially, they just made it, the threshold for this lower, so now employees have the ability to take their 12 weeks time off, and it doesn't have to be all in one swoop. And you have to track it, but the bottom line is that employees have to pay 1% or 6%.
But they can only take it after they've accrued.
After September, so if.
But they have to have accrued the amount of money in their account, right?
No, they're just saying, starting in September,
It's a pot.
employees can use the benefit.
That's a pot of funds.
Right.
And,
Doesn't say they have to have it.
and right now, somebody could be eligible for it, say in my business, if they had worked and made $1,000.
Well, that's because you fall under the OFLA FEMLA guidelines, but paid
Well, I've got
employee is very different.
different ownerships, and I'm down in employees, so it may affect one, and that may affect definitely one, but may not affect the other. It's a headwind in doing business, period.
We don't actually have to worry, if you will, about losing anything until September. Then we have to say, okay, once someone needs to take it, they're able to take it. Then we're down, whether, if they take the full 12 weeks, then they decide what we're
I think they apply, and I'm gonna find out, but, yeah, sorry.
I don't know if Oregon and the federal is the same here as California, but if a woman was pregnant and had a C-section, it went up to 16 weeks.
Now you can apply, this one, you're able to apply for additional 6
Yes.
weeks at least.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's really just like, if you're familiar with FEMLA and OFLA, it's just the same thing, but now everybody has to.
I will say, I think that the application is not done through to the employer.
No, absolutely, that's
It's done
my,
through the
that's my
state.
concern. They apply directly to the employment department. So if I needed to take 12 weeks, I would apply directly to the employment department. I wouldn't apply to the city to get the benefit, which is why we need to change the handbook to say, you gotta tell us too, so. I'm not worried that's going to happen here. I think we'll know, but that the point is that they don't apply.
Okay, any other questions on this mess? Okay. We have another resolution 332 22 canvas of votes. Has everyone had a chance to review this?
I'll make the motion that we accept the canvass of votes from November 8th general election.
Alrighty.
Thank you, Councilor Finn. Do a second it, Councilor Watson? Okay.
Is there any discussion on the motion?
I'm confused on what we're, for the council member position 5.
Okay, so the way this, and I'm guessing that we're talking about the write-in.
Yes.
So the way this works, and I spoke to the Lincoln County clerk, is that Ms. Sovereign was elected by virtue of having the 16 votes and verifiable votes, so because she had that many, she becomes the candidate. I had to contact her because she could refuse the nomination, in which case then this would be not applicable. But I spoke with her and she did accept the nomination, and yeah, I believe she is present, but she did accept the nomination. So essentially, she's voted in on part of the canvas votes.
How many votes do you need to be a write-in?
There is no requirement.
So could one be a write-in if?
If you get a majority.
More than one, because a lot of people got one vote.
Right. It's the majority of the write-in votes, assuming the write-in votes are legitimate.
Okay, so you take all the write-in votes and you have to take the majority of all the write-ins.
Right.
Interesting, okay.
I know, I have never had a write-in before, so it was interesting talking to the county clerk and figured out this works out.
Was it the new, was it?
Amy, the new one?
Oh, was it?
Yeah. She's lovely.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to accept resolution to canvass the votes. Is there any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Alrighty, we've got that approved. We're almost in here.
Before we do city reports, I think that was, oh, by the way, I did provide you guys an updated resolution, somehow not on purpose, Councilor Rec was left off. That's the correct one that we're gonna cite. But before we do that, we missed public comment. Could we do that before we do city staff reports?
Yes.
Sure. Okay. Because we have people, I don't know if anybody would wish to speak, we have people in the audience and we have people online, I don't know if anybody would wish to speak.
Okay, anybody wanna do public comments?
I have one.
Sure, come on up.
I'm Cindy Miller, I live on South 40, and I enjoy coming to these meetings, and I don't get off work till 7:30, so I'm always late, and you guys can be changing your hours to 6, and I will not be able to attend, but I want you to know that I want to be on the House List Committee. I really, I'm coming as kind of a blank slate. I don't really know how committees work, but I'm willing to learn, and I feel sort of passionate about this situation that's being thrown on us. And Depot Bay is unique, and I feel like we don't have all the facilities that people would need, but I won't be able to be here for the city council meetings, and I just want you to know that. Okay. I volunteer myself if you would have me, and also Kim at the Doggy Spa, as a business owner, she is interested in being on the committee also.
Oh, wonderful, okay, thank you.
Would you do me a favor and sign in on the worksheet, please? And is there a pen there?
No.
Pretty nice thing to time.
Yes.
And you said her name is Kim from the doggy shop?
Yeah,
Holmes
Doggy
is her
Spa.
last name.
Holmes?
No, Holmes.
Holmes,
Yeah.
Thank you.
She's from the dog day,
Over there?
doggy day spa,
Yeah.
over here.
Oh, that's my new groomer, Shannon.
Oh, wow.
She's gonna be grooming my pet someday end of this month, or January 1st. Anyway, okay, I've got her name, thank you.
Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Alrighty, we'll be in contact with you.
Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you, appreciate you stepping forward for us, that's
Very
very
much,
wonderful.
thank
Well,
you.
I've been waiting for something. Thank you.
Are we doing staff reports now? Anybody else with comments?
Okay,
Okay, staff reports, let's do it.
okay. So
You go first.
yeah, I'll go first this time, he wants me to go first this time. So what I provided, is just basic, I mean, we're working on a lot of things, but these are the big things, but the Billboard Code Enforcement, since it has been asked, I wanted to let you know what we're doing with that. So we sent out the letters to the attorney and we're waiting basically to see what's going on. It was asked whether or not we should get the sheriff involved, but because of the whole homeless, houseless situation, they're not, their hands are tied. So, we're gonna proceed along this route and follow up and find out what's going on with this. So the letters were sent out. So the floating boat launch, you know what's going on with that. If there's any questions on that, I still am waiting for the extension from the OMB so I can get the agreement with Hopper.
I have a question on that one. It said that the State Marine Board didn't have a problem with the in-water work window, but that's not who else would have a problem with it. ODF and WG.
Exactly. Counselor, she did say that the other groups, the Corps and the DSM.
DSL.
She said that it's a small project and because we're not doing any in-water work, we're not moving land, she says they're not gonna be concerned about what we're doing unless we start moving. Really, and all we're doing is floating the dock. So she did say that we're such a small project that there's, and the way we're doing it, and if things change, then they're gonna be caring about it. And she did try to work for something for us, she did talk to Topper to try to get something going for us, but
Yeah.
it's just the fiberglass, so that's just causing a problem. So the dredging, that's the dredging, if you have any questions about that with Brady. And then we talked about the harbor restoration project, but Councilor Grant updated the most recent on that. And then Brady wanted to share some of the things that they were working on with water projects, and he had a new one today, the tap grading.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, we ran a new water line on Winchell for the new houses that are going in.
and what I liked what he told me was that normally you tear up the street, right? And then the city has to pay to restore it because we do our taps first and then they do it. The sewer, the city tore up the street, but then they worked it out, so now they're not tearing the street, so when the street does get tore up, it has to be replaced by the developers.
We were able to put the line in off Hazelton.
So it's a less
Across the
expensive.
properties away from the asphalt, so when you do the sewer, normally we go in and do the water and the asphalt's cut, so they'll do the sewer and then we have to go pave everything, because we started it this way, they're gonna have to pave everything.
Yeah.
But they're also gonna have to overlay everything when they're done, they're gonna do a finish overlay from the homes there.
So by doing it the way they did it today,
We
kind
would
of
save-
save the city some money to have to do the street repair, so I thought that was pretty
A
cool.
lot more efficient.
They're still working on the manufacturing delays with the pumps, he's still waiting on things, the manufacturing. Anything extra you wanna report on sewer, Brady?
Yeah, we've scheduled for, so we held the Lions TV throughout the various neighborhoods that weren't TV before, and we're coming up with a quote list from the contractor Vortex that does this for us. And it's without excavation, they work inside the sewer line to repair the leaks and the cracks and the water coming in. And this is stuff that's mandated by the state, so that's why there's such a large number when we do our budget for I.
Well, it seems because they're gonna be doing it through the lines and not having to do any digging or tear up, so, we'll shed a quote when we get on.
Yeah, it's coming up, it'll be after the first.
And then, Brady shared some of the parks and building projects they were doing, looking at re-graveling the community center, scheduling to remove some blackberries in front of the bench. So there was a concern about it being on the hill in front of the tidal race, where all that thing, but they just want, the Parks Commission just asked to have that one spot in front of the bench clear, so they
Where the
can-
briars are and
Right.
there's berries.
So that they can, the view's better. So it's just a small area. Brady said he would schedule his folks to do that. The downspouts were done, everything worked out there. I have asked information from Counselor Watson asked to talk about the flashing lights downtown. I'm waiting for information from ODOT. It's hard to know when they're going to provide that. I wanted to share with you our population study, 1,566. 67, because I'm sure it doesn't really And the grant writing project, we actually submitted for a grant for the electric vehicle charging stations at Vista Park. I asked her what she thought. She thought it was a good chance of us getting it because it has such good support through providing the minutes for the meeting, so we'll see. And then after the first of the year, Lincoln County Sheriff's Office is gonna come in and make Brady's office a mess. To get a spot for them to be in there and to start and set up for them to start in April with us.
And these charging stations, back to that, the city would benefit from that, it wouldn't be an outside company. We would have to.
Right. I gave them a quote based on what some estimates that I found from previous discussions that the council had. And so we're talking a significant amount, as in, I think 70,000 was kind of what was talked, and it's kind of a matching rate or not a matching rate, but you can decide right out to look at the details on that. But it would be a big help. You wouldn't have to necessarily go with Rivian, which I know there was concern, I understand, about Rivian, about the city not having any money. So it would be things we put in, and we would have to go out and get actual physical quotes from others to do
It's
that.
like pay for itself with income.
So would the city become the purveyor? It's not gonna be free, is it?
No.
We would, yeah, they charge just like a charging station.
I mean,
We
the
would-
city could choose to do that, but I doubt the city
We would
will.
pay the power bill and to put the system in,
Right.
we would eventually get reimbursed
Right.
through credit card payments.
Credit card payments.
Yeah.
It'll take some time to get it back, or the grant will help.
So
Got 20 years.
the amperage will be important. We really need a fast charging. It's no good to have one that
Right.
people don't want to use because it's too slow.
Yeah, and we'd be on the main SCADA with all the new electric cars have the grid maps of where to charge. We would enter into that.
I read all the notes, and I read your notes on that, I have all of that from information, so we have that. It would be something that, once we know what happens with the grant, we would come back and discuss, well, this is what we wanna do. Because there's that, I learned a lot about it too, there's L3 and L2 charging stations, and really it's gonna be the policy of the council, do you want them to in and out real fast, or do you want them to have lunch?
Usually L3 is what
You
we
know,
can have.
You want them to go to Gracie's or the Horn and have lunch?
Yes.
Or shopping, you know. So, but that's later, I mean, that's for discussion later.
I'll just add real quick on mine for, so the water, we're gonna do, end of the year water sampling. We got those in today, and these are for volatiles for drinking water. Last time we did them, for a very long time, it's been, none detected, so we're doing synthetic organic compounds. There's a gamut of things they test for, it's amazing. Across the United States, what they find in drinking water. But, we have really good water, so we've never had any issues, but, the state does mandate that we get these in, and we got them in just today, and they were dropped off, so. We made it in by the end of the year. So that's about it, yeah, Kim covered a lot of stuff, so we're good.
Any questions for Brady?
May I ask one final question? So on this report that I give you guys, do you want us to say, okay, here's the report, here's the project list? Do you want us to go over anything? Or do you just want to say, well, if I have any questions, I'll ask? I just want to make sure, if I'm providing all this information, are you happy with that? Do you want any additional information? Do you want us to say, okay, here's our report, do you have any questions? Boom.
I like the way it is, and then I feel like if there's a question that we have, we can ask you
Okay.
in the meeting.
Okay.
But I really like the update.
Just try to shorten things for you,
Thank you.
that's all. So,
Yeah, I agree. I like being able to read it, and then if I have any questions, I'll ask, because it's usually at the very end of the meeting, and it's like, Brady goes, I'll keep this short, and then it's another half an hour.
If we get questions, yeah.
We're doing a lot lot of work, I understand that, but I'd rather ask questions. if I had-
That's kind of why I sat down with Brady when we put the report together to make sure that you got his piece too, so.
Yeah.
So we'll just going forward, we'll say, okay, here's a report. If you have any questions, if we have anything new to add, we can, but otherwise.
Yes,
Sounds
yeah,
good.
that
I did
makes
have
more
a
quicker.
question.
I agree, yeah.
So on the water projects, the storage tank on Summit, will that require, digging up everything? What's a storage vault and?
So last survey, we had water from Oregon Health. There's a pipe that was put in, when the tank was built. And that's actually with new rules, that becomes a cross connection. Because it's supposed to have contact time in our tank with chlorine. And the bypass pipe really isn't supposed to be there. Now, it was put in because if there was an emergency or the tank needed to be worked on, that you could just close off the valves and let the water run around the tank and to the public. But the health department has concerns with that because of contact time with chlorine. So we had to cut a gap in the pipe, literally, the bypass pipe. It's not one that's used, it's one that's used in an emergency. And there's a flexible collar that's in the, so we have to purchase the vault. In the meantime, we just cut the pipe and it's just an open pit up there now. So we're gonna put a concrete vault in that we purchased out of Wilsonville. We're gonna pick it up and install it. But there'll be a piece of pipe that we can, in an emergency, put that pipe in, turn the valves on, and then go through the procedure that way. But in the meantime, the health department doesn't want to, has to see the gap. It's just a compliance issue we had, and it just came up during our last survey. Unfortunately.
I just wanted to make a comment on the removal of the docks down there at the launch. You did a fantastic job. It really
Yeah, they got all the little pieces and everything was
Yeah.
cleaned up with a
looks really nice.
the skid steer. It all went to the dump. So we were able to recycle the steel and the galvanized bars and the cleats and all that. So we did get most of that stuff off there.
Yeah, it's
And,
really
yeah,
nice.
so.
Thank you to the staff and
It
your
was a big job for staff,
Yeah, it
but
was.
Dan Price Construction helped with just doing the removal and approaching. And then we had Wiggins Towing help with.
Guys worked hard on it.
Oh, they
Al
sure
and Steve.
We were able to. use
Oh,
all
and
the
Miguel,
vendors.
they were down, Miguel was on the Lorraine, they were just down there tearing it up. I think they were having fun because, you know, they were tearing things up, but
Yeah, that's like,
we have pictures of anybody.
They worked hard. Okay, before we do council comments, I have the honor of giving out a couple of things here. Yeah. Okay.
I know, they're a little bit challenging. I should have probably not put them back in there.
That's okay, I can get it. Okay, Councilor Grant, thank you for 6 years of service on.
Well, there's more than that, that's just council, he's been on a lot of commissions and.
Yeah. So anyway, the city of Depot Bay has given you a nice little,
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. You spelled my name wrong. I'm just kidding. Thank you very much. That's very sweet.
Councilor Crum, you have one also, you served for 2 years. And we've had a bunch of years with you and we appreciate you serving on the council and so. We've been making some tough decisions and you're both convenience because they were valuable contributions to our city.
We have some open committee positions.
Oh, there you go, there you go. So do you want to make any comments this
I do.
evening, Councilor?
I want to thank everyone for the opportunity to serve on the council since about March of 2021. It's certainly been informative time serving here, and I thank all of you for the support, as this was the first council position I've ever held.
Councilor Grant?
Well, I would like to thank the people of Depot Bay for having me since January of 2014 on the council, besides the other commissions that I've served.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, I applaud your service. Thank you very much. It's a lot of, I know from experience, it's a lot of time and effort, and it's very much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor Grant?
Just go for it, Fran.
Thank you, Jerome, thank you, Claudia. You're welcome. I don't have any council comments tonight.
I have a couple of things. One I just wanted to bring up is that our bridge is literally crumbling. Every time I walk over it, there is more and more crumbles are everywhere. I don't know.
Are you talking about our main bridge?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, it is literally crumbling, so I don't know.
Underneath, you know about that?
Oh, yeah, well, they, ODOT is
Okay.
It's an ODOT issue.
I figured it wasn't an ODOT issue, but I
But they-
just wanted to bring it up.
Do they know about it?
Yeah, they do, they inspect it, quite often, but it's, a lot of the sidewalk at top area is, needs to be replaced. And they've told us that, and that's that main, kind of where our little archways are, and it's part of the original design. Part of the east side was put in 29, so it's been there a long time. They have fixed it, it is plugged in, the bottom is their main concern, but the top doesn't need to be fixed.
I remember when, they went through and they coated the inside of the rebar. Do you remember that
Yeah,
30 years
it's
ago?
plugged into this day, it's got cathodic protection.
Electrolysis and rust forming inside the infrastructure.
When you say it's crumbled, do you mean like, what's crumbling? I mean,
Materials,
Cement.
the cement.
Yeah.
As you walk on it, the sides of it.
Not so much except for the railing part of it, if you look at the little archways and stuff, it's just crumbling concrete. But ODOT is aware of it, but, I mean, squeaky wheel too, we could definitely write
One more.
ODOT.
I-
They have ODOT.gov is a website, and they take information. And in fact, we were trying to get the sidewalk cleaned down by William, that the berries and the ivy were growing over the sidewalk for a very long time. And we tried a little bit as the city crew, and then ODOT even said, oh, we'll take care of that, and it never got done, but actually writing in helped. So ODOT.gov.
Okay, we'll get on it.
I just want to say one more quick thing. The burning they've been doing is, I'm sure, affected a lot of people, but I was very, very, very sick for several days. So I don't know if there's something we can do as a council to get better notification or talk to them about doing it under better weather. It's been horrible, and I'm sure it's affected a lot.
There's been a lot of burning going on.
Yes.
They'll slash burn and then we'll have an east wind, and it just
We
goes
get
right over.
notifications and I can push them out more, but I don't know if the notifications are enough, because I get them that morning. And I look at the ones that are close by. Is that enough, or do you want us to see what options are? There may not be.
I just wanted to bring it up.
Okay.
We talked about it later.
It's been bad timing. They do it every year, but this year, for some reason, we've had 2 episodes of east wind, and it's just bad timing. But they could do a little better job of trying to get with the forecast.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh, come on.
I know you weren't the only one though. I didn't
Yeah, we
know
have-
about that.
Yeah, our neighbor's really bad. They're on oxygen, and they have to stay indoors, and it's,
Well, that's not good. Lindsay, did you have any comments this evening?
Just hearing about the water plant, I would love to go on a tour of the water plant sometime.
Yeah,
Oh,
so, yeah, we're looking at engineering, we can set up a tour, we're looking for engineering to redo the filters completely. And, fix the foundation there, but yeah, it's very interesting. The
Have
guys
you
love
been
to
to the
do the
wastewater
tours.
treatment plant?
We've
Wastewater
done
too.
I thought we just
We
had
didn't
that
do the
one.
water, yeah, we never did do the water, I'll try to set one up, maybe right after the first of the year.
Will we have 2 new counselors and they not?
Yeah, so do one of those tours, that'd be great. And go to the reservoir too. The
Yeah.
reservoir-
I want to see the
really
road for
good.
that.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. I've got new salmon swimming in there.
Like-
I just want to wish everyone a happy holiday season. Get all of your goals for 2023 in place, because we'll start discussing those in January. And thank you all very much for all your contributions this year. It's been very, very rewarding. Okay, I believe we're done.
Thank you, Becky.
Yes.